Within macros, you'll see different people using different measuring techniques to measure out macros. Some people will use serving sizes, ounces, tablespoons, cups. I want to encourage you in this video to use grams. The reason why I want to encourage you to use grams is because it is a consistent unit of measurement that you can use across all foods, all macros, all the time. Because one of the skills that we want to learn as we teach ourselves macros and go through the journey of macros is starting to get to know our food better. And if we are weighing our food or putting a plate together where something is in ounces, something is in tablespoons, you've got chicken in ounces, avocado in tablespoons, rice in cups, and maybe something else in grams, visually, that's a very challenging way for us to teach ourselves how to get to know our food and how to get to know portion sizes consistently. Versus if you've got 100 grams of cooked chicken, 70 grams of cooked rice, 15 grams of avocado, over time, it's a much easier visual tool to help you get to know what your food looks like on a plate, because most of us don't want to be strapped to macros forever. Like when we go dining out, or if we go on vacation, or if we go to a friend's house for dinner, if we go to a buffet, or we just want to live life, sometimes we want to do macros, and sometimes there are moments where they just don't apply. But knowing in your mind what a healthy for you, for your macros plate of food looks like, that can become a superpower. And it is just so much easier to do if everything is measured in a consistent unit. Additionally, if you are going through a fat loss phase and you're measuring the items on your plate in different units of measurement, it becomes really challenging to be able to take away quantities of food, which we have to do in a diet phase at some point. It becomes very challenging to do if we're not measuring the food in grams. So let me paint this picture for you. You've started your diet phase and you're putting together a plate of 100 grams of chicken, 70 grams of white rice, 100 grams of steamed broccoli, and 35 grams of avocado. In other measuring quantities, and I'm probably not going to do these all mathematically correct, but just go with me here. We would have 4.56 grams of chicken, 1 cup of rice, 2.33 cups of broccoli, 2 serving sizes of avocado. So that's where we're starting with our calories. Now, you or your coach or macropath gives you lower quantities of food because you need to progress your diet phase. If you're measuring everything in grams, then what that would sound like would be you go from 100 to 90 grams of chicken. You go from 70 grams of rice to 60 grams of rice. 100 grams of broccoli down to 90 grams of broccoli. You go from 30 grams of avocado down to 25 grams of avocado. It's a very even, easy measuring tool to help you downgrade your calories as you go further through a diet phase. Alternatively, if we're using a random amount of measuring quantities on our plate, so we have to go from 4.56 ounces to 4.32 ounces of chicken, we go from 1 cup of rice down to 0.865 cups of rice. What even is that? And we might go from 2 cups of broccoli down to 1.837 cups of broccoli. And then we go from 2 tablespoons of avocado to 1.632 tablespoons of avocado. Like, it just doesn't even make sense. Like, how do you even measure that accurately? Alternatively, 90 grams of chicken, 60 grams of rice, 100 grams of broccoli, 15 grams of avocado. That sounds so much better than what I just laid out before. We need to talk about the difference between the amount of macros that you're getting in grams. Like someone says, I'm eating 150 grams of protein a day. And then the measuring tool of grams for weight, because someone might say, I'll just keep using chicken. I need to put 100 grams of chicken on this plate to get 30 grams of protein. For a lot of people, that can be very confusing. It was super confusing for me at the beginning. So I just want to lay this out for you here. The blocks are back. I had used red in the previous video to give you the analogy of these blocks being one of the macro building blocks, one of the macro groups. So red was protein. So when someone says that they're eating 150 grams of protein a day, that depicts the amount of protein that they're eating. So if someone says, I'm eating 150 grams of protein a day, that 150 grams of protein depicts the quantity of protein that they're eating in a day. It's a unit of measurement for quantity in that respect. But when somebody says, I need to eat 30 grams of protein for this meal, and to do that, I need 100 grams of chicken, the 100 grams of chicken relates to the weight of the chicken. It's just the weight. That weight relates to the quantity. So that might be this much in a person's day out of the 150 grams. So they're getting the 30 grams of protein, the quantity for that weight of 100 grams of chicken. I hope that makes sense. These blocks I find to be super helpful. So I hope that that's clear. Need any more help with that? Just put a note in the comments.